Okay, so here's a business scenario problem. And again, 90% of a project manager's job. So that might be a number, if you can't remember that off the top of your head, that you want to write down as something on your brain dump. So
put that in. Communication. That's something we're lacking here.
And so that is a big portion. And like I said, I don't even know what the other 10% is, because everything is ultimately communications. So your company is a key supplier for a major airline with 1 to 3 year projects. You've got an 18-month design and manufacturing project about halfway through. So 9 months through, when the original designer leaves for another position, and you're asked to step in as the new project manager. So the project work has subcontractors, and they have got deliverables coming up, and you need to understand these deliverables. How should you prepare yourself for the project manager role? And this is very much the type of question you're going to see on the exam.
Oh, okay. So as far as communication, okay. Well, I know what I would do. Well, this, for me, it's formal communication. Let's see.
So probably
I would identify myself as taking over.
Okay, and that's a very good thing. And you know, obviously on the test, you'd probably be faced with, you know, what's the first thing you need to do? What's the most important thing you need to do? What's the quickest thing you could do?
Well, I know for me, I would start by identifying myself. Then I would identify my role in this project. Then I would ask, what is the scope of the project? Because I'd want to know what the scope is. I'd want to know where we are at. What are the issues that have been involved? What are the expectations? Where we need to go? What they expect of me as well. But it's all formal communication because of the actual project that's involved, and making sure that we communicate properly.
Well, so so your answer is really much better than the solution here, because I think, you know, making yourself known to the team is very important, and understanding the scope of the project, certainly, because, you know, with my little pond analogy, you know, you don't want the cats to go wild with, you know, change management and get the scope, you know, allow scope creep or all kinds of crazy things that they've always meant to hold it, you know, to get in. Now this says, you know, look at the project management plan, and certainly that's, you know, that's the whole full scale of documents, but that's not necessarily fast. I mean, if you had to do something super, you know, if you had a super hot fire burning or something, again, you probably need to understand, you know and understand the project charter, and at least that would be a fast overview. But you might want to, you know, especially if it was a cost or schedule issue, you might want to look at the cost and schedule.
You got to step right into it. You have to know the scope, and you'd have to answer that in writing. But you definitely have to identify yourself, the knowledge that you have related to the project. You need to get up to speed on the project.
Right, and so
find out what
and you have to know who are the subject matter experts on the project if you're not.
Yep.
So all of that plays in, but, you know, as you said, you know, so scope is here, PMP, the baselines, communication plan, you know, all of that is necessary. And again, fortunately, it's a multiple choice question, so I have no doubt that you could work that out, you know, in terms of what would be the best or the first or the next. Just make sure that you look for those directional words in the question, like best or first or next, most important, cost sensitive, whatever. Okay, so next we have the process of managing communications, and that's ensuring timely and appropriate collection, creation, distribution, storage, retrieval, management, monitoring, and the ultimate disposition of project information. And this is one of the most highly overlooked processes in project management, because especially that retrieval and disposition, ultimate disposition, you know, i.e. when do you get rid of things? So your inputs are typical with the project management plan and the documents. We've got our work performance reports. So, you know, we've taken our data and we've created information and made it into reports. And then we have our EEFs and OPAs. And then the tools and techniques we're going to apply to manage communications are, of course, our communication technologies, our methods. We're going to use our skills in communication and interpersonal and teams. We're going to use our project management information system, project reporting, and meetings. So all of those are going to go to figuring out how we're going to manage our communications. And then the output are the project communications, the project communication management plan updates, the document updates, and the organizational process asset updates. And of course, whenever we think about these kinds of things, we've got to think about, as team members change. Remember, in our Tuckman forming, storming, norming, performing methodology, as people come and go from the team, we've got to figure out how to best communicate with those new people. You might have had a project sponsor who, really wanted the nitty-gritty details, but now you've got somebody new and they just really want you to hit the high points, and they'll ask where they want some more information. Okay, and then we're going to monitor communications, and of course this is part of monitoring and controlling, and it's the process of ensuring the information needs of the project and its stakeholders are met. So basically we've got to make sure that everybody gets the information they want when they want it and in the format they want it. So, is that push, is that pull, do you use a SharePoint site, do you use, email, do some people need phone calls, do they want written reports, exactly what is the best way to get information, and maybe everybody's different. And as I said, and I should have said again in managing communications, that you may have to group stakeholders that need the similar information in a similar distribution fashion in a similar time frame, and just have distribution lists. So monitor communications, we've got our documents that we bring in, like the project management plan and the project documents. We have our work performance data, and obviously that creeps over here to be work performance information. We have our enterprise environmental factors and our organizational process assets. And then to monitor communications, the tools and techniques we use include our expert judgment, our project management information system, our data analysis, our team and interpersonal skills, and meetings. So ultimately, we'll try to discern whether we're being effective and whether we're employing enough of the right kinds of communication technology in the right way. And so what comes out is work performance information based on the work performance data, the change requests, the project management plan updates, and the project document updates. So here's another business scenario. This is for Regina. If only she was here.
Yeah, Regina's managing a 4-year intern. She's a year and a half into the project. Her team encounters because of the distance between many of them have no work together on the project. Regina has to work hard to map out suitable. What are some things? I would be doing a WebEx. I think it changes the whole feeling when people actually see each other.
Yes.
I really do. I think communication by email can be blurred.
Well, and truly, because we lose so much of the nonverbal aspects of communication.
That's right. I think once you get people together in a webcam and they can see each other and they start talking to each other and communicating, I think it is much better.
Well, and I think too, you can discern a lot more. I mean, I think you and I have a good conversation going, but say in a large group, when I teach virtually, and you can't see any, even everybody can't put on their webcam at the same time, I can't tell if people are understanding. In a physical classroom, I can think, okay, that person over there is obviously not getting it. You can just tell by body language.
You could also see in their expression,
Yes.
on their face, and that's why a webcam is wonderful, because now you get to see, some people who are not really engaged, and you can ask a question of them, or the ones who are looking at you like, I don't get it, or you look funny looking, or, webcam, I think, takes away that whole feeling because it makes it much more personal.
Right, and then you understand what and whether people are understanding. You understand if your jokes are falling flat or, actually hitting the mark. So I think a lot of things can be discerned from actually seeing people and talking to them. So I'm still sad that you don't have a camera, but that's okay. Anyways,
Yeah.
I think you hit all the high points. That basically, we're going to analyze the causes of the problem, which was the influx of information of issues into her, what I would call the action item list, but her issue log. And so root cause analysis and corrective actions are always important. So obviously you want to continuously improve. And so, you've got to look at, potentially for communication noise factors. And you've also got to look at cultural differences. And again, you might want to incorporate some of those cultural awareness activities going forward so that,
That cultural training.
right, so that the cohesiveness is not interrupted by, something that a team member might have thought was, a casual offhand remark or even some slight of a joke. And somebody else took that to be a directive or an insult or an admonition or something. So again, yeah, I think you hit all the high points on that.